on the sports bar momentarily. Thank everybody for joining in. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Oh man, how'd y'all like that intro? I'm still tweaking and tuning that thing, but welcome to the Sports Bar here on WTF Nation Radio. We are streaming across multiple platforms today. You can find us on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I am your lovely, handsome host, King Smith. And yo, I got a co host with me today. If you look over my shoulder, the lovely faceless coach over here that has the wireless or wired mouth that's moving is my co-host, affectionately known as Coach today. Coach, how you doing, my man?
What do you hear? What do you say? How's it going tonight, King?
Hey, man, you are literally the definition of a face for radio and a voice for print. Hey, Coach, man, I am glad to have you on co-hosting with me tonight. We have had some lovely games earlier today, and before we get into the sports news and our show today, why don't you introduce yourself and your sports interest or life as you would have it?
Absolutely. Well, so those of y'all that have seen me before on WTF Nation with Kaz and with Ice, Many of y'all know that I'm a lover of all sports. My main love is baseball and football, but I'm also a huge motorsport fan as well. Not just NASCAR, but Formula One, IMSA, which just completed the 24 hours of Daytona today. Huge fan of college football and college basketball. The NBA can go wherever the heck it's happening out there. It just depends on how good LeBron's doing because he is the greatest of all time. But mainly, I have been focusing my attention, especially today, on the AFC and the NFC championship game. And I may have an update for you. No, I do not have an update for you.
All right.
That
Who
just means Joe Burrow was just wait, we might have another play out coming out here. All right, but anyway, go ahead. Go ahead, King. My bad.
were you surprised at the score from the NFC championship game?
Man, Philly hasn't seen a beating that bad since Clubber Lang beat the crap out of Rocky in three. Man, but it's a good thing that at least on this side, Philly was on the winning side out of there. San Fran could have thrown Joe Montana, Steve Young, even the ghost of Colin Kaepernick before he started kneeling out there, and it wouldn't have made a lick of difference against Philly. Philly was looking unstoppable, and it looks like they're going to be, going up whoever's winning this AFC Championship game, which is now 13-6 at halftime, Kansas City over Cincinnati. And,
Wow.
it's going to be a good Super Bowl in 2 weeks. At least I hope it's going to be. If not, it might be a Philly blowout.
I have to tell you, coach, I was surprised. I thought that Mahomes' injury was a lot bigger than the team was trying to make it out to be. So I had predicted that Cincinnati was going to come out here and put up about 35 against that Kansas City defense, which has been Swiss cheese at some times throughout the season. So to see what they're doing against that Bengals team, it doesn't look like the Bengals have woken up. Maybe they're going to halftime and get things figured out. What do you
But
think?
Bengals have been a second half team almost all season. Joe Burrow, he didn't get the name Joe Cool for absolutely no other reason. And when the pressure is down, Joe has been coming through time and time again. Just remember last year's AFC Championship game where Joe
Mm.
went ahead and brought his team right to the Super Bowl, even though they lost to the Rams. Let's not talk about that. He beat Mahomes in Kansas City. So, do I still have a little bit of belief that Joe Burrow can bring it back, be Joe Cool again this year? Yes, I still do, but we'll see how the second half plays out of this. Things aren't looking so good, but I got some belief that this is going to get into a tighter game.
All right. Before we move on, let me check the chat to see what we have. We have MD Cars in the building with the Yay Sports. Cars also says, "Wow, the Bengals are sucking tonight." Let me see if I get my sound effects working. Yeah, we got a sound effects board working tonight. We have Michelle Early in the building. She said, "Good evening and nice intro. Shout out to you and thank you for watching." Thank you to everybody else that's out there across the world that tunes in to the Sunday Night Sports Bar. Look, we're competing with football in prime time. We're competing with people that spend time with their family or play Call of Duty or Madden. But you know what? You could have done anything else with your time, but I am glad that you are here. Now, coach, speaking, speaking of that 49ers score, I'm going to show the only highlight that the 49ers had all damn game. All right. This is Christian McCaffrey here, which I think I'm going to have to go back and show the refresh here. Let's see if this thing loops. Come on and loop. There you go. Look, I love the way he runs the ball. The guy right there was determined to score, broke a tackle, and said, "I'm making a house call today against Philly." And that was the only highlight that Philly had, man. Did you watch the entire game?
I watched the entire game, and when San Fran scored that touchdown and McCaffrey did, I knew McCaffrey's a baller. McCaffrey's been a baller ever since he was drafted out of Stanford. When he was here in Carolina, he was balling, and I'm still befuddled on how the Carolina traded him. I guess they just wanted to, go ahead and tank their season for a better draft pick. But you know what? McCaffrey ended up in a great situation.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great team. He had a great year with them, and it looks like he's found his forever home in San Fran. So San Fran, you should, hold your head down because y'all lost, but at least y'all's future is looking a lot brighter than Carolina's, and that's because McCaffrey is a baller. And I'm going to be look. Anytime you get him the ball, he is a threat to score the touchdown, and that's what you want in every football player.
Exactly. Exactly. Look, defense wins championships. Offense puts butts in the seat. And that Philly team seems to have a combination of both. I wasn't able to watch the game because I was getting ready for the show, but I did catch some of the highlights. And man, the way that offensive line for Philly was blocking, how Miles Sanders looked real comfortable every time he touched the ball, and what that defense did. Oh man, I can't imagine any team beating that Philly team going forward, whether it's Kansas City or Cincinnati. Do you think that the NFC's the conference that's going to win the Super Bowl this year, or do you think that any of the AFC teams actually stand a chance against this Philly
All
team?
right. Philly's O line did a great job today. I mean, for crying out loud, Nick Bosa looked like, he was just playing second fiddle and was guessing almost all game. And if the NFL sack leader's doing that, your O line's putting great out there. The one thing I do have a worry about is this Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the first time that he has made it this far. It's his first step up in the Super Bowl. This is his first one. So Joe Burrow lost last year. Got Patrick Mahomes. He's won one. He's lost one as well. Jalen Hurts is also a running quarterback. Yeah, he did have a great completion percentage, but his mainly known for his rushing attack. And let's be honest, rushing quarterbacks have yet to lead their team to a Super Bowl win.
Ooh,
That is the truth. You look back in
huh?
history, the last time that you actually had a run first quarterback that made it to the Super Bowl was back 10 years ago with Colin Kaepernick. Colin
Okay.
Kaepernick was known for his legs, but he was a pretty decent pocket passer. Now, Jalen Hurts, great legs. Great legs. He's able to complete the passes and he's smart with the ball. He can go ahead and upend this, but running quarterbacks do not usually fare well in a game where you've got 2 weeks to prepare and the defensive coordinator can go ahead and take a look at every single one of your weaknesses throughout those 2 weeks and focus it in on that. These two teams, Cincinnati and Kansas City, whoever comes out there, are going to have 2 weeks to see what Jalen Hurts has and to see what his weaknesses are. Oh yeah, the Eagles covered that, Richard Branco. Trust me, the Eagles definitely did cover. They ended 31-7 or 34-7. I can't remember. I think it was 31-7.
Yep, it was 31-7.
Yeah, 31-7. I don't That's right because
Luzon
they got the first
is
down. They actually
magical
ran for it on fourth down and
and
2 right
staying at a
before the
Disney
2-minute
Resort
warning
hotel.
and then or right after the 2-minute warning and then kneeled it for the victory formation. But with the run first quarterback,
Complimentary
they have
rides
yet to
and
win a
from
Super
the
Bowl.
park.
Actually,
Even
I take
extra
that
time
back.
with your
The
family
last time
can
you had a
be
really
fun.
run first quarterback, Cam Newton. And what happened to him? He ended up losing to Peyton Manning, a slow white Bronco.
You know what? I'm curious what the Vegas line was for that game. I didn't get the chance to check that out prior today with everything that I was rocking with. So let's see. The odds were 37-22. They almost, they almost, almost covered. They were 6 points, 6 points short. See, the total over under of the game was 45.5 as well. So if you bet the under, you hit today. All right. Man, hey, dude, that's interesting. I wasn't aware of that fact about the running quarterbacks. You know what, though? I'm not going to let you steal the shine from the running quarterbacks because there are four Alabama players that are heading to the Super Bowl off of just one team. All right. So we're going to give a big roll tide over here. You've got Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, which, look, you can say Alabama, Oklahoma, in a lot of the press that's came out, he's been the one that's claimed Alabama. You got the wide receiver Devontae Smith, which it doesn't look like that dude should be built to be playing football. He's fast, he's athletic, but if you seem like you get a hand on him, the dude's gonna go down. You've got an offensive guard, Landon Dickerson, and cornerback Josh Jobe. All right. Richard Branco asked, what was the over under? It was 44.5, 44 and a half points. Oh, I'm sorry, 45 and a half points. Coach, Question for you.
What's up, buddy?
Did you see the news about Ed Reed and the following reversal of them hiring on Ed Reed as a full time coach for Bethune Cookman?
Yes, I did. I saw that, and I was befuddled by that. The historically black colleges, I think that they need a little bit more attention. Ed Reed could have brought that attention to them. I understand they might have had some questions, but I think Ed Reed would have done well over there at Bethune Cookman, excuse me. And unfortunately, I don't understand why that they ended up letting him go, other than just BS reasons. I think Ed Reed would have been a great coach for him.
Nobody understands. Now, I've been keeping up with that news very closely because when the hire was initially publicized, I said, oh man, that's going to be great, not just for the school, but for other athletes and other HBCUs as well. But the more you hear people like Deion Sanders, who left at HBCU to go to Colorado, the more you hear from Eddie George and some of the other coaches and alumni from these HBCUs, it's sounding like there's a lot of politics involving around getting these schools the resources and things that they would like to have. And it sounded like to me that that's what Ed Reed wanted. He had a plan to come in and bring excellence to Bethune Cookman. And this dude came on board on staff before he had even had a contract in place to try to say, hey, this is the standard for what I want as a Hall of Fame player, as a guy that has a coaching resume because he was doing some coaching after he got done playing as well. And it didn't sound like Bethune Cookman was willing to get on his program. But I have the video that Ed Reed put out on his own TikTok and Instagram. And I want to play about 2 minutes of this video so that people can understand the passion that Ed Reed seemed to have and see if we could try to dissect what's going on with this. Let's take a look.
Good morning. Good morning. Temporary. Temporary. You never know the day nor the hour. None of us know when that time will come. You understand? We've been around here trying to change things, and we have, and this has to change quickly. My vision for change is probably moving too fast for a lot of people. I'm not withdrawing my name, as they saying. They don't want me here. They do not want me here because I tell the truth. Yeah, I've never had this many people here in the recruiting time, and Coach, I've been saying that. We've been here at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I even slept here one night to make sure I was comfortable, and I was. My guy. It's hurt. It's hurt because I know people don't care about these kids like I do.
You don't care about that laptop.
And they should be the ones leaving, not me. Because I don't want to. Why? Because Jeremy Greaves, who father I looked in the eye, and y'all mothers and fathers who I talked to last night, even though I knew they didn't want me. I took $2,400 out of my pocket and still gave it to the host, to host these young men. Shit, at this point, I'd do it for free. Because I have been for the last 3 weeks. That man have too. He drove from New Orleans. I took $2,400 out of my pocket and still gave it to the host, to host these young men. Shit, at this point, I'd do it for free. Because I have been for the last 3 weeks. That man have too. He drove from New Orleans. Because he believed in me and my vision. And that man right there who flew from California, less than 2 hours and got off the plane, and he was here to see the rant.
So, I only wanted to play that first 2 minutes. The whole video was about 15 minutes, but he talked about the passion for the program, the passion for the kids. And subsequently, even during that live stream right there, because that was streamed live, Deion Sanders called him up to offer him some words and things. And you could tell that they were kind of talking in a little bit of a coded language, basically placing the blame on the politics of, trying to get the program improved and not really getting on Ed Reed's program, man. So I think that Bethune Cookman lost an opportunity itself. I think that HBCUs in general need to figure something out because to attract good talent, you need people like that has a name like Ed Reed to, go to your kids' high school, pull up to your kids' parents, get you to believe in not just the program, but also the culture, right? Inspire, have somebody that can inspire a winning culture, and that's what Ed Reed has done. That's what Ed Reed has proven. Okay, so the fact that Bethune Cookman could not get on Ed Reed's program is a tragedy. Do you have anything else to add to that?
Just a quick comment, just so I could be a little bit selfish. I've got an HBCU that is 2 blocks away from me from where I live,
Oh,
and I would pay money to see Ed Reed coach. Had he, if he goes to that college, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I would pay money just to see what these people are doing. I wish Jackson State was coming around and when Dion was coaching,
yes.
because I would have paid to go see them out there. And I'm not going to say that I am the greatest college football fan. I haven't been to a game since I left Hawaii. That's how long ago it's been since I've watched a college football game. That's my team right there.
Hmm.
But I would have gone to have seen Ed Reed. I would have gone to have seen them. And I wish that some of these colleges would get out of the Stone Age way of thinking that is unfortunately mired in the old ways of college sports. One of these things that really, enhanced and can enhance one of the historically black colleges is this NIL deal.
Oh,
You saw the name, image, and likeness things that were happening when Dion was the coach of Jackson State. He had a lot of the guys that they were able to sell their name, image, and likeness so that this way they can get paid on top of everything. And I get that some of these old fogies that are at the HBCUs may not like that whole type of stance,
okay.
but it is going to bring attention upon you. I mean, this is the most talked about that we've had for historically black colleges since Eddie Robinson was coaching Grambling. You know, that's how long ago it's been out there. So, for Ed Reed to unfortunately meet this situation, I feel for him. I hope him nothing but the best. But some people need to wake up and smell the coffee and know that this is a new world.
Man, I like how you put that, man. I like how you put that. And it's been a while since you've been to a college game. Hey, okay. To the people out there listening and to coach, this is a question for you. So you've been to pro football games, you've been to college football games. What atmosphere is a lot more fun to be at? A college stadium or a pro stadium, and why?
College, hands down, it is college. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's a sterilization, even though there's great play in the NFL. There is a sterilization when it comes down to going to pro games. You go to a college game, like, and I can, like, the one I'm just talking about that's 2 blocks away from me. I hear their drum line every Saturday and every Friday night as they're practicing. I love listening to their drum line. Going to University of Hawaii games, loved being in that student section, and the kids were all into what was happening on the field. You go to an NFL game, and there's more people staring at their phone and taking pictures of somebody eating a baked potato up there in the nosebleed section, instead of actually worrying about what's on the field to play.
I saw that baked potato thing, and man, that to this day, I don't get why people go to sports games and not watch the game. Why would you either A, spend money or spend somebody else's money just to then go and take photos of a damn baked potato? Baffles me to this day. Baffles me to this day. Hey,
Was that a sound effect or was that something coming through my headphone?
that was a sound effect, man. I got a whole sound effects board over here. All right. Like, hey, if you ever say something that I disagree with or there's a flag on the play, man, I'm going to give you the whistle. Dude, these NIL deals, name, image, likeness, right? It's here. And there's a website, it's on3.com/NIL that has a NIL tracker. And for shits and giggles, I went to go kind of see what some of these valuations were for a lot of these high school and college folks. And man, check this out. Who do you think as of right now has the highest NIL valuation currently as of today?
Currently, okay, good. I just want to make sure I was still unmuted. All right, so the quarterback from Bama, I can't remember his daggone name right now. I know that he's got a pretty good one because I've seen him in all those daggone Dr. Pepper commercials. I also
even in
know
the top 10.
What's it? Not even in the top 10?
Not even in the top 10.
Oh, wow. Now I did hear that Arch Manning, the kid who just signed with Texas and the nephew of Peyton and Eli, the son of Cooper Manning, I heard that he has one phenomenal NIL deal, like making like millions of dollars off of that. And the kid hasn't even played it down yet. Is he in there?
He is. He is number 2. Now, this is combining high school and college. Right now, Arch Manning is number 2. Number 1 is a kid that hasn't even graduated high school yet. Son of the GOAT, Bronny James.
Okay. I forgot about him. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it is almost double of what Arch Manning's deal is. Here, I'm going to try to bring it up on the screen. Let me see if I can get this to work. Oh, snap. That did not work the way that I wanted it to. Let's get this resized. And, hey, we're doing some things on the fly over here. All right, and let's scroll back down. Let's make this thing bigger. That's what she said.
She obviously hasn't met me yet.
Hey, shout out to Mott Refinage. Now, hey, I messed your name up all kinds, but we got a comment. Hello, I'm watching from Hong Kong, but I am from the Philippines. Hey, salute to you. This is the Sports Bar on WTF Nation Radio, so I'm glad that you tuned in. And if there's an easier way that I can say your name, please let me know. So if you take a look at the top 10, you have a mix of high school and college coming up. You got Deion Sanders' son at about a 1.6 valuation. Now, the way that they take the valuations, this website uses it's a formula where they combine sponsorships and your followers that you have as well to kind of give an estimated number of what your name, image, and likeness valuation is. So it's not an exact science, but Bronny James with his 12.5 million followers sits at about a 7.5 estimated valuation. Arch Manning is, around half of that at second. And the first lady that hits, Livy Doon. Have you heard about her story?
Yes, I heard about the stalker that showed up over there, and now they had to up the security at all of her meets and everything like that. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Some people just need to get a daggone life. I can understand being a fan, but there's a difference between being a fan and a fanatic and a fucking pervert.
So this young lady here is a gymnast. She goes to college at LSU, and they've had to sense up security for the events that she would go and compete to. She also has hired private security herself because she can't go to a mall, a restaurant, or a store without crazed young guys for the most part, hounding, harassing. It's sad, it's tragic. I don't know how somebody that's that young can handle, that kind of fame, but hey, they're capitalizing on, social media now, man. Because social media, when you and I were growing up, isn't the way that it is now. And I'm not saying that if I had NIL or whatnot, that, I might have had a couple of thousands of dollars or whatnot, but to be able to have these type of deals and money to assist you. I'll say it that way, to assist you as you're growing up, man. I think that it's both a gift and a curse for these people. And social media is a gift and a curse that can kind of help or harm your stock. Because look, you do have to be good. I think the second part of that as well is you have to be marketable in the same way that a college player who's about to graduate, you know, that has a certain skill set or look can be marketable. Definitely when you go to the pros, you're marketing yourself to increase your own valuation. But now kids can market themselves and make money from it, man. I think it's fascinating. I'm curious to see how businesses are going to take advantage of some of these things going forward. Um, what's your take on the whole NIL rules in general? Has it been good for people? Has it been good for sports? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so a little bit of background onto me, and if you don't mind, can you go back to that top 10 real fast? Because I want to bring that up here in a minute.
All
Little
right.
background for me. I had two brothers that got full rides for baseball scholarships. One played at James Madison, the other one played at St. John's. All right. There was no way I got a scholarship, but unfortunately, it was as the mascot. Um, so there was no way I was going to get any money out of it whatsoever. Now, what I can tell you is that out of all of with that money and the everything, even though they had a full ride, my brothers still are saddled with a school debt from when they were there because even though it took care of the tuition, it didn't take care of the lodging or the food or anything else going life for afterwards. And the NCAA rules at that time were so daggone restrictive that the coach couldn't even buy them a pizza
Hmm.
without having to report it, and it could be a self-reported violation.
Wow.
So I think that the fact that they can actually make money and get rid of all these booster things and everything else like that, it is a phenomenal thing for the athletes because they're making hand over fist and especially in college football they're making hand over fist in money. These conferences are, they're realigning conferences and getting rid of rivalries just so that they can get more money on ESPN and their broadcasting rights. And it's great that these student athletes are able to actually get in on that. Now, I asked you to bring these up because you now right now are showing the top 5 for the NIL. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you're also going to see a couple names on there. But I wanted to point something out. Bronny James, son of LeBron, Arch Manning, nephew of Eli and Peyton. Caleb Williams just won the Heisman. Shador Sanders, son of Deion Sanders. Marvin Harrison Jr. Where did I hear his father's name for? Oh, that's right. That was Peyton's favorite receiver outside of Reggie Wayne. Look at all of the 5 out of the 10 NILs. They are getting a lot of their street cred coming from the fact that their parents or their family members are well known athletes. And you can't tell me that that did not trickle down going all the way to, oh, okay. That did not trickle all the way down to the kids. Now, I don't know whether or not they scored. Yes, they did. All right.
Oh, we have a breaking update. What's the score,
Yes,
my
we
man?
do have a breaking update, and it looks like Joe Burrow just connected on it looked like it was almost a 40-yard touchdown to Higgins, and it's now 13-12. Extra points going to be coming in. Sorry, about a 32-yard touchdown. Extra points going to be coming up here in just a moment out of that, but we might have a tie game coming here in Cincinnati, in Kansas City against Cincinnati.
All right, coming out of halftime, coach with the breaking update on the score. Appreciate it.
Not
Continue.
a problem. And and I want to talk about Lindsay. Is it Lindsay up there? Is that her last?
Livy.
Livy.
Livy
Okay.
Dunn.
Yeah. Now I do want to say one thing. I have seen the commercials that she is starting for that type of yoga pants or sweatpants that she has. Yeah, look, she's a beautiful looking girl. I'm not gonna lie, she is a beautiful girl. But there's a difference between, the gymnast that's out there and somebody who's on a commercial for it. And look, nobody's gonna, stalk Giselle Bundchen. Nobody, well, people do, but they get arrested for it. She has got to be put in that same set. And this is I'm going to call it the Danica Patrick effect on this. I
Ooh.
really do hope that Livy Doon, competes in the 2024 Olympics. I hope that she's able to actually, make a great living and be known as a gymnast first instead of a beautiful woman who also is an athlete. I truly do hope that. But if the gymnastics thing, hey, look, you got a short window, and and sometimes 15-year-olds are the best gymnasts in the world when the Olympics come around. She's getting a little bit older, and as long as this NIL is helping her set up for life, I've got no problem with that. But man, we'll keep this on U.S. Army WTF moments kind of thing. That's kind of like parading first sergeant's daughter around the barracks. You got to stop that crap, man. You know it's wrong, and some people are going to do something about it. But man, don't be doing it. Don't be doing it. You know it's going to cause you all nothing but trouble.
Hey, there's a question in the chat, and I would like to answer this one. Kaz said, "Is nepotism a thing with athletics? Seems that if you suck as an athlete, it doesn't matter who your parents are." And I have a thought, and then Coach, I'll let you close that question. So my thought is this: I think that nepotism is a factor, and one of the people that I follow closely is Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders played for the Lions, Hall of Fame running back, in my opinion, the best NFL running back of all times. Barry Sanders had a son. His son also played running back. He went to Stanford and another college, I think, before, his football playing days were done. And when you watch the kid was definitely athletic. He wasn't his dad, but he was definitely athletic. But I have to ask myself, right? Does he get those looks because of who his father is, or did his own high school record merited the type of scholarships that wouldn't have came if he wasn't Barry Sanders' son? Now that's my kind of thoughts around nepotism and athletics. What say you, Coach?
I agree with you, King. I do agree with you on that. Another good example out of that is the sons of Michael Jordan. They both played at lower Division One schools, and they got full scholarships to those lower Division One schools when they were playing. And there are people who are playing D2 and D3 who actually had more skills to it. So I do think that were they worthy of a scholarship? That's, in basketball sense, yeah, they could have been, especially, at a lower level. Were they worthy of that high of a level one? Most likely not. But the fact that their parents, Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, was, their father, it got them a little bit more attention than what was necessary. Now, keeping if they were going to go to a certain school, a certain alma mater of their more famous parent, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I can understand that, kind of keeping the family bloodline and everything. But in the instance of Arch Manning, well, he's got the two best uncles that taught him how to be a winning quarterback, and he's blown away their records. He got it off of merit, and Texas is definitely one of the best, or definitely one of the bigger football schools that's out there. He could have warranted going anywhere about that. So it helps, but it's the added feature is the best way to say that.
Okay.
That's what I can come to that.
Going back to the NIL conversation, one of the things that I found interesting, there were two that recently came across my desk. One is a set of college basketball twins, two young ladies that play for the University of Miami, and another one being the quarterback Justin Fields. His sister plays college sports as well, and she has a wrestling deal that came across, her. And man, how do I say this and not get canceled? I sometimes wonder, in the case of Livy and the college twins, if the if their looks were more of a factor than their talent. And I have to be careful about saying that because as a guy, I then have to ask myself, well, can I make the same question when it comes to the male athletes as well? Uh, Coach, do you think that there's some merit to my thoughts?
There's merit to your thoughts, and there's an actual, metric that it goes down to this. If Livy Dune looked like me, she would not have so many followers on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever she has. If she looked like me, she'd be lucky if she'd be getting 50 cents every day, from a bum off the street. So it does factor in that she is a beautiful girl, and that beautifulness, her beauty is what helps her get a lot of the followers, because I guarantee you that those are not gymnastics fans. Okay, most people don't watch gymnastics outside of the Olympics, but Livy Dune brought them to watching gymnastics, much in the same way as I said before about Danica Patrick. There was a nice bump after Danica Patrick debuted in IndyCar. People started getting into IndyCar as well, and didn't know anything about Scott Dixon or Helio Castroneves or anything else like that, but Danica Patrick brought them to the sport. If Livy Dune is bringing people to the sport of gymnastics, there is part of it. So, hey, yeah, it's not really canceling. I mean, you're just stating an obvious. Livy Dune is using her beauty to bring awareness to a sport that kind of needs it. So, as far as what she has metric wise versus all of her social media accounts, it definitely goes through it, and it definitely plays a factor. Those twins at Miami, guys are perverts. So, let's just stop it, say it right there with how that's happening. But yeah, it does play a factor into it, and it's it. I mean, it plays a factor in almost everything that we do. Whenever you're watching a movie, you're not watching somebody who's butt ugly. Okay, whenever you're watching a TV show, the TV characters, they're not butt ugly. Okay, maybe some of them are, and they're usually on Fox News or CNN, but that's not real television. That's just fake media. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that, King. Their beauty has played a part in how they are able to actually, their social media and how they're able to be seen throughout the public eye. It's always been that way. Beautiful people run the world. Isn't that what that Ginger guy said? What was that song? Beautiful people.
um,
You know
I
what
don't
Ginger
know.
guy I'm talking about? The singer. God,
Oh,
what? Ed Sheeran. Ed
Ed
Sheeran.
Sheeran, yes.
Yeah, the ginger. My son's gonna kill me on that. He actually likes that guy.
We have a comment in the chat talking to this. Michelle said, if looks weren't a factor for female athletes, then they wouldn't be subjected to wear the attire that they do. So yes, if she looked different, her ranking wouldn't be that high. All right, all right. I find that interesting. There is. Let me show this one here. How do I? Man, I need to figure out this whole situation going on. So this that I'm highlighting here are the Cavender twins, and I don't know how to make the screen so that it's just the one side of her page. But if you scroll and look, all right, this is one half of the Cavender twins. They have an NIL deal that's ranked pretty high as well together. But if you look at their Instagram, I mean, it's curated with ooh, I think the reason why this isn't showing up right on the screen is user error. So let's do this. Let's do this. and that. Look at us fixing things on the fly. Bam. It's what I do over here. I mean, they're going to use their looks to market themselves and get money, and I am all for it. I say do what you need to do to get that money with whatever ways you can to get that money. All right. Um, I couldn't tell you anything about their basketball skills because I don't watch college basketball. So I couldn't really say anything about any athlete at that right here. But man, they're getting deals. They're sisters. And I think that their success is going to be for as much as they can stay in the public eye. How many followers? She has 481,000 followers. All right. I can't imagine that kind of number. Um, there's a comment here that says that the gymnast ranks higher than Suni Lee, who has many accomplishments. They look and live differently. That they do. That they do. Now, look, I'm just gonna say this. If your boy had NIL deals back in the day when I was coming up, I would have hit the gym, eating my Wheaties, sculpted a face to already match this handsome face that you see, coach. And tried to capitalize on some of these NIL deals. But alas, I was born in the wrong time, man. I was born in the wrong time.
Yep. And did you notice a certain pose that that half of those pictures were? None of them were
Yes.
with the basketball, so it was a certain little thing, kind of sticking out there.
Yep. And
Well,
hey, yep.
I mean, hey, look, they got more followers than the WNBA does. So I mean, come on now. Let's
Oh
just say
man.
that. Oh yeah, I deserve that one.
Oh snap! Hey, have you been to a WNBA game?
No, I think you're going to find more people that have seen Bigfoot than those that have been to a WNBA game.
I went to one. I went to a Washington Mystics game, and it was on a weekend as well. And coach, let me tell you, I said that if I'm going to be critical about something, let me go and see what the product is. And
Mhm.
to be honest with you, I had actually been to a WNBA game before I had been to my first pro game, by the way, which I just recently posted up a video on the Sports Bar Facebook page highlighting my first NBA game, which was a Washington Wizards game. And while that game was packed, the WNBA game, I could probably sneeze and hear myself sneeze in the stadium as there weren't that many people there. There's been a lot of talk and controversy and players that have talking about how the WNBA players should be paid more, about how they should be able to get charter planes the same way that their NBA counterparts should. And as somebody that has a business degree that understands, assets, liabilities, revenue, expenses, if you're not pulling in the same revenue that another sport is, how can you expect to have the same perks, if you will, as somebody that's just simply pulling in a lot more revenue than you are? Now, there could be other factors that I'm just simply not thinking about. But when you think about what the players for the WNBA are saying now about how they should be compensated more, how do you think that that happens?
Unfortunately, the only way that that happens is if the NBA gets better revenue because the NBA has been supplementing and basically paying for the WNBA ever since its inception.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of this stems from the women's soccer, and they actually have a pretty decent argument. MLS, even though, it's been around since 93, 94, 95, somewhere in that time period, MLS does have a good following. But on the international stage, as well as the World Cup, more people follow the successful women's team than they do the men's team. It's been proven that. And the women's team generates more tickets per going to the game for their internationals as well as for the World Cup than any other country combined. So they have that pedigree and they have a leg to stand on where that's at. And they've been talking about that. Michelle Raponi has been a big advocate about that.
Hmm.
Regardless of how you feel about her, she does have a point that women's soccer draws better than men's soccer and deserves better pay. They earned it. The WNBA has yet to earn it. We can go all the way through the entire time of every WNBA player when um oh gosh, I'm going all the way back to the Rebecca Lobo days and Lisa Leslie days, Cheryl Swoop days of the WNBA. They were pretty daggone well known. Tamika Catchings was another great NBA player, and then okay, well, the personal story. I once had a double date in high school with Sue Bird, and she showed no interest to me. And go figure on that.
So hold on, hold on,
When
hold
you
on, hold
start
on.
thinking
Oh,
about that.
hold up. You're not gonna skim over that. You went
Oh
on a
no,
date with Sue Bird.
yeah, I did. My friend was dating her friend, and I was the third wheel, and she was the third wheel as well. She showed zero interest to me, and to find out later that she wasn't into men. Well, go figure. you know. But yeah, that happened in my senior year in high school. We were both seniors around the same time, and it's no big deal. I mean, like I said, but anyway, going with even with Sue Bird. Sue Bird's been playing now for 20 years, and not once has the WNBA made a profit. Not once has the WNBA been relevant enough to even be highlighted on ESPN or any of the major sports networks unless they had their broadcast rights and had to start putting them out there. And I'm going to say this because the unfortunate political ways that things have been politicized. Everybody believes that the women, regardless of the way it is, should earn the equal share. Well, the soccer teams definitely earned their equal share. The WA has not.
Hmm.
So I don't understand why the WNBA thinks that they can get chartered planes when the money for that charter planes is going to be coming from the NBA players playing their games to supplement the WNBA. It's been subsidized for 30 something years now. And it's going to continue to subsidize unless there is something drawing them to the WNBA games. And the last major news story that the WNBA had, well, freeing Brittany Griner sure as hell wasn't bringing a lot of good attention onto the WNBA.
No. Now, before I comment, there was something in the chat here. Let's see. Michelle said that they don't pull the revenue because they meaning the WNBA focus on athleticism, not looks and social media, meaning they don't look as attractive as others, so people simply don't care. Hmm. All right. All right, I have some thoughts. I have some ideas, all right, about how to bring in more people and bring in more revenue. And the jacked up part about it is it doesn't have to do with necessarily the product. The way that I think that you could bring in revenue and bring in more people, put butts in seats, is to have additional offerings of things that people would come to the games for that that would entice them to come and watch the games. And man, King, don't get canceled. I found myself bored at the WNBA game because look, there wasn't no dunking, there wasn't any high flying acts of athleticism going on. Could all of those ladies beat me in a one on one game? Absolutely, because my basketball skills are trash. But as a collective, I wasn't really enjoying the product that I was watching. So to put butts in seats, I think they need to offer more that would entice the average person to come and watch the games than what they have now. Because if you're not dunking and jumping 10,000 feet in the air, you kind of have to go, who cares?
King, I have to agree with you on that. And I have another thing that they can do. They can also take a page out of college. College is very well known that there is a doubleheader games. So you will have the women's game coming in right around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Let them play, and then the men's game will come about a half hour later. University of Hawaii. I used to go to the Rainbow Wahine games, and they were before the men's games, and I enjoyed going to those games as well. The larger crowds that you had for the women Wahine games were the games where there was a doubleheader. If the WNBA were to shift their season, and that's another thing too, is that their season is in the middle of baseball season, and the NBA is already done by the time the WNBA is starting, and by the time the WNBA championship is, the NFL is starting. And speaking of the NFL, I do have an update.
Pew, pew, pew. Give us the breaking update.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes with a 20-yard touchdown pass to Valdez Scantling. Extra point on the way to give you that when it's happening. But touchdown for Kansas City. They are up 19-13. Extra point pending.
Pinning the extra point. All right. I have to be surprised, man. Look, we saw last week that a one-legged Mahomes is better than the other 31 quarterbacks that are starting in the NFL. And to get him a week's rest on that leg and come out, has he been favoring it at all? I don't have the game up, so I can't tell.
Yes, extra points good. So it's 2013 Kansas City over Cincinnati. He has been favoring it. You can see where he's a little hobbled, a little slow on there, but when the game's, it's in between plays, you see where he's doing it. He's pushing it through. He's warrior. He's being a warrior out there and playing as soon as the game is played. That's what he's doing. He's big time in it right now. Team needs him, and he's looking hobbled. He's taking a couple hits, and after that touchdown, you can see a little bit of a limp, and he's limping off the field immediately to go get treatment. So Patrick Mahomes is doing what every great athlete has done and playing through the pain, playing through the injury, and playing through the big game. And, King, do you want to, King, got something up there from Kaz that, he's got a good point about.
Yep. I was actually about to highlight that. Kaz in the chat said
gotcha. Yeah.
that it's like seeing the truck races before the NASCAR main event, and he's talking about the colleges and your suggestion on having the WNBA players play before another high draw event. But man, that's asking for a lot if you were to go that route. Because look, if you go to a NASCAR event, you know that you're there pretty much all day, drinking beer if that's your thing, getting rowdy, and watching cars do circles. But to ask somebody to show up for a 4-5, I mean, you're talking basically your whole day, half of your day, essentially, to catch two sporting events back to back. That's a tough ask, my man. That's a tough ask.
It is a tough ask, but people want escapism. People want escapism, and they want to, be able to kind of enjoy a certain thing. But it's also opening up a new audience. The women's game, like I said, with at that college at University of Hawaii, when the women's game were there, it got me into watching the Rainbow Wahine. And then there was a couple times where the Rainbow Wahine didn't play, and I actually went to the game with my daughter and my wife and my son and his girlfriend and my youngest son. We all went. The whole family went to a couple games when they weren't playing with the men's. So if you're going to get different eyes on it and you're going to get more eyes on your product, even if you are doing some type of double header, well, then the nights that you're not doing a double header, you may get that, I'm not going to say fringe, but I would say you're going to get some more of the casual fans to say, hey, you know what? This isn't that bad. Let me go see it. God, what was a League of Their Own? No, you remember the owner of the Peaches, or the general manager of the league. I can't remember who he was, but you enjoyed that? Well, that's great. Come out tomorrow. Come to the next game. If we did that with the WNBA, or if we did that with women's sports, these less professional, these less known type of sports that are out there, and people come out to see it just for they can see the main event, then you'll have more people coming in just for it. The main draw for a NASCAR race is the Cup Series, but they have the Xfinity Series and they have the Craftsman Truck Series, or it's now the Camping World Truck Series. Um, Nobody really wants to go just to the truck, or nobody really wants to go to just the Xfinity. But when you are playing them back to back, those that are going to be there at the Cup race wouldn't mind watching the the Cup or the truck race or the Xfinity race before that, if they're able to go see it at the same time. It definitely helps out. It helps out on a lot of them.
All right, now, Coach, you and I have not rehearsed this. You talk about a movie called A League of Their Own. They also have an Amazon Prime show that has 8 episodes, I think. I've watched the first episode. I actually liked it. A League of Their Own is one of my favorite movies of all times. There is a line that is said in that movie, and I'm going to gamble with this one. I'm going to count to 3 and see if you and I are thinking about the same line from A League of Their Own. All right?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. 1, 2, 3. There's no crying
in baseball. Rogers Hornsby was my manager, and he called me a steaming pile of horse shit right in front of my parents, who came down to watch me play the game. And did I cry? No, because there's no crying in baseball. Oh, I love that movie.
Nice. Hold on. Let's give it up for Coach for that right there. We also had Cuz, the fact that you were able to type that quickly, because I know that there's a delay between the live stream and when the audience actually hears the audio. You know what? Let me give you a round of applause. But that line right there, yep, there's no crying in baseball. I find myself saying that randomly to my daughter sometimes, anytime she's upset about something and it has nothing to do with baseball. I'll just look at her and go, there's no crying in baseball. She's never seen the movie. She has no idea what that line even means. And she gives me a strange look every time. But I used to say that when she was younger. And she would give me this confused look, and I think that would make her not think about whatever it was that she was crying about, and change her attitude real quick. So, hey, I'm just glad that worked out. I wasn't sure if me and you were going to think about the same line. So,
I was
salute
halfway
to you.
thinking of avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan. Yeah, that's good advice. That was the other line I was going to say, but I'm glad that I went with the one that I figured you were going to say.
Good deal. Good deal. Hey, look, it is 9:03. If I wasn't having tech issues today, this is the point where I would have an intermission and go step away for a second, stretch the old legs or whatnot. But I don't have anything set up for that just yet, so we're going to push. I got one more story here, and then we may look at closing up shop early today. Boss, Ice, do not ding me for that. All right, let's go back here. And are you a wrestling fan, Coach?
I used to be. In fact, before I got my job, and about 2 years ago, I actually hosted a wrestling talk show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm pretty knowledgeable, and I know that I haven't kept up with it in about 2 years or so. I do know the Royal Rumble was last night, and I believe the grandson of a plumber, Mr. Cody Rhodes, won the Royal Rumble and will now face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Okay.
I do know that's going to be happening, yeah.
Myself and CQ, affectionately known for his show Pop Culture Warrior on WTF Nation Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. We went to a wrestling event here in DC, as well as Nemo, that's a part of the staff as well. And let me tell you, this was maybe 2015, 2016, I forget what year, but I had only watched wrestling on TV. I didn't grow up a wrestling fan, but I completely understand why they have the draw that they have. When I tell you that I was so entertained, pumped, hype, like the energy from the crowd, the wrestlers in the showcase that they put on, man, I became a fan right then and there. I was so mad at myself. I told my dad, I said, Dad, why hadn't you ever taken me to a WWE or a WWF event back in the day whenever they came to town? It was so much fun. And I need to go back. I definitely want to go back. Have you gone to one of the bigger like WWF, WWE type events, or what is it called? A WCW? There's so many W's and changes that I don't know what it's called now.
So now WCW in 2001 was bought out by WWE. That ceased to exist for a while, but they've got several promotions here in the United States. You still have the WWE. They're still up and around. You can check them on Peacock or whatever NBC affiliate you've got. You've also got All Elite Wrestling. They're on every Wednesday night on TBS, I believe. You got Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor. You even got a pretty big one out of Japan called New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, I mean, it's been globalized, and they've got several of them, but the one steering the ship is definitely the WWE.
Okay. Hey, Kyle said that he's been to midget wrestling. Look, if you've been in the Air Force around aviation and you were ever stationed or done TDY in Oklahoma, then you will have known that there was this bar, the one local bar that everybody went to, that would occasionally have midget wrestling. There might be pictures on my social media of me at a midget wrestling event. And let me tell you, the fun that was had at the events that some of those traveling troops, I guess is the right word for it, or traveling companies put on. If you ever want to go to a midget wrestling show, I guarantee you will have a good time.
It won't come up short on your expectations.
Oh, I like it.
And it's not a tall order to get tickets.
Oh, hey, I feel like you can do this all day. There is a wrestler that was called Triple H, all right, or is called Triple H. Triple H has this thing where he's like this, and it's hard for me to show you, live on air, but I don't know if it was called the Suck It or whatever his move was. Well, that doesn't necessarily translate over great to the NBA. And there's a 76ers player by the name of Joel Embiid who decided after a play and a foul that was called to do Triple H's wrestling move. And it earned him $25,000 in the NBA fine. Let's bring that up on the screen here so that y'all can see what's going on. Oh, before we do, apparently there's breaking news. Tragic mistake by Mahomes. What had occurred there, Coach?
So Mahomes is going for the pass. Ball got out of it. It looks like they lost the fumble, but I believe it's underneath review, as in all of them, as in all turnovers are. They're trying to figure out whether or not it was a fumble or it was a pass, and it looks like it was a fumble as he was going up for the ball. So Cincinnati's got the ball back on Kansas City's 45-yard line, still down 7 with about 55 seconds to go in the third quarter.
All right, I appreciate that update. Joel Embiid doing his best Triple H on WTF Nation Radio.
Oh, and it was one of the best pickups of the offseason. Embiid in the lane, gets the bounce and one, and letting the crowd know that he's excited.
And if you see right there on the screen, Kevin Durant on Twitter, whose handle is KDTray5, wrote that it was a trash celebration. That right there earned Embiid a $25,000 fine, which is steep if you ask the average person. He got fined $25K for about 3 seconds of something, and that right there is about half of what the average person makes in the U.S. Oh, man. Hey, Joel Embiid, for your $25K fine, I give you... Let's run that back.
And it was one of the best pickups of the offseason. Embiid in the lane, gets the bounce and one. And letting the crowd know that he's excited.
Hey, Khan said that was almost 3 months' salary for a WNBA player. Oh, do you think that warranted $25K fine there, Coach?
I mean, if he was doing it towards the fans, yes. If he was doing it towards the players and telling them maybe about a $10,000 fine, but he also should have just said "suck it" at the end, because that's what that move is called. Suck it.
Oh, it is called the suck it. Yo, round of applause to me. I wasn't sure. I guess.
Yeah, the crotch chop, suck it. That was a big Triple H thing. Yeah.
All right. So 25K, man, I'm starting to think right now, if I was given 25,000, there's a lot that I could do. First of all, I'd pay off my car. I think I would pay off my car immediately with 25K. And the fact that this dude just pretty much sneezed 25K by doing the Triple H moves, suck it. It's hard to hear. It is hard to hear. But I like Kaz's comment in the chat. That's almost 3 months' salary for a WNBA player. Yo, that made me laugh, Kaz. That might be the funniest thing I've read all chat. Who's going to beat that? Who's going to beat that?
I'm not, because I'll get dirty on those things about what Joel Embiid just did. I mean, he's having an MVP type season. You know, he doesn't need to be doing that, but I can run on jokes for at least a good 5 minutes as far as that, but we'd be kicked off of Facebook if I did.
My next game, the one game that I'd like to see is going to see Philly play. So there's a couple of players that I'd like to see play before they're done playing. The GOAT James is one of them. Steph Curry is another person I'd love to see play in person. I got a chance to see when I went to that Washington Wizards game. They were playing against the Chicago Bulls, and that kid, Zach LaVine, he's a different level of baller than the other players that were out there. And let's say I didn't know who he was. When you just look at the eye test of his skill set and what he's doing, it's like, all right, if you made it to the NBA, you're a good player. But that dude is on a different level than everybody else that was out there. And the tall center, Vukovic, I think was his name. That guy too, to be a tall, lurch-looking dude, athletic.
Yeah. You know, if you look at the way the NBA is right now, the players, you know, you're getting everybody who's about Embiid's side, and Embiid is more of an inside player, but you're getting guys like Jokic and Luka Doncic, and you know Zach LaVine, and you know these guys, they would have been centers about 20 years ago, and now they've got the athleticism and the moves like guards. You know, KD, and if we're going all the way back, KG was the one who, you know, basically popularized all of the, you know, the five position players, as I like to call them. You know, and as long as you've got some type of athleticism and talent. Oh, Joe Burrow! 40-yard strike right down to the 5-yard line right now. We've got a 1st and goal at the 5 for Cincy. Sorry about that. I had to mention that one because that was a nice throw that Burrow just let off.
Nice. All right,
Yeah.
so we got 1st and goal. Joe Cool leading his team down to the goal line. Down 7 in the 4th quarter. All right. Hey, we got ourselves a game over there in the AFC. That's what
Yes,
I like
we
to
do.
see, because that NFC game, man, tragic for the 49ers. Are there any 49ers fans watching right now in the chat? If you are, let me know how you feel knowing that your team is going to be like you, watching the rest of football from the couch.
I got somebody I work with who's a huge 49er fan. I'm not going to bust her balls or bust her ovaries about it tomorrow because, unfortunately, you know, they already got busted enough today. Even the fans are hurting after that game. My goodness.
Hey, man, you a lot
And
better
it's
than me.
second and goal at the 2 right now.
All right. Hey, I'd be giving people all the smoke. Like, look, if my team's not in, you about to feel how I feel. The Ravens. Oh, man. I don't even want to think about it. What do you think is going to happen with the Lamar Jackson contract situation?
I think Lamar's going to end up re-signing with Baltimore because I don't think there's another team in the NFL that wants him. And we got an update. Perrine Bro goes ahead and runs it in from 2 yards out. Extra point pending. We may have a tie game 20 with 13:30 left to go in the fourth quarter. Man, this AFC Championship game is definitely becoming a heck of a lot better than the NFC Championship game.
Hey, as long as it's not the Cowboys kicker, because that dude, oh man, I can't imagine the last time I saw a situation in which somebody missed, what was it, 4 extra points in one damn game?
Yep, 4 extra points in one game, and then had his first kick blocked, but then hit 2 field goals in the next one. I mean, for crying out loud, Ray Finkel had a better average than he did.
Shout out to Ray Finkel. If you don't know who Ray Finkel is, Google it. All right. That makes me feel old too. The fact that our generation, my generation and older is definitely gonna know, but those that are younger, oh man, we need to get them up on who Ray Finkel is. Hey, breaking news as well.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
Brock Purdy now has the same number of playoff victories as Dak Prescott and Tony Romo, and Brock Purdy's first playoff game was a week ago. Oh, man. Hey, Cowgirls, how can y'all still support America's team like that? It doesn't make sense that the Cowboys can still be have the following that they have. Look, they do pretty good marketing, all right? And they're in a state that people love their football. There are some high school gyms that are better. There are high school gyms in Texas that are better than some people's schools in other states. I want you to hear what I just said, that there are high school gyms in Texas that are better than other states' schools in general. Man, I walked into this high school in San Antonio, Texas. Their athletic facility was bigger than my old high school. Just the athletic facility. I wish that I grew up in Texas and played football there. Did you play prep sports at all, Coach?
I played basketball and baseball. Football, yeah, I didn't. But I will say that the teams that my high school were at, we had regular high school fields. But some of these, what you're talking about with those Texas fields, my goodness gracious, there are Division II and Division I schools that are envious of some of these high school ones. There's a guy on YouTube, 5 Points video. He did like the top 15 or so high school ball fields, and there's one in Texas that I kid you not has a 70-foot LED screen at one of the end zones for replays.
Man, that must be nice. Shout out to Bill Crow in the chat. He said, "What's up, Bill? What's up with you? Are you watching the AFC Championship game right now? If so, tell us what you think in the comment section." I mean, Coach, I can't imagine that type of technology or money that's put into some of these high schools nowadays. And also too, I was having this conversation about prep sports, and think about this. Back in the day, you kind of needed a recruiter to get yourself out there. You needed to have that tape that somebody could put online that could get you scouted. Today, your own mother with her cell phone can record your athletic play, upload it on YouTube, and that gets you a chance to be scouted nationwide.
Yes,
versus how things were 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that these young kids understood the gravity of how they can market themselves, like how some of these people are, like the gymnast from LSU. Bronny James. You can kind of say he did it on the strength of who his dad is, but TikTok. TikTok is a recruiting source for people that can get their highlights up. It gets shared on your sports centers, your other big sports news places, and that gets you the opportunity to get scouted by some of these larger schools. 10 years ago, that wasn't the case, man. I'm hating. And I'm jealous. If you can't hear it or see it in my face, that is what I am now. I am jealous and I am hating because of the opportunities that
Hey,
these kids have.
so I do have something to kind of like to talk about this one. So I'm also friends, and this is going wrestling wise. If I say this name, some people might know, but the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. I'm friends with him on Facebook, know him a little bit. I've done some things with him in the past. His son, Jacob, is just as big as he is, with even more athleticism. And he plays football right now. He also wrestles. And just like his father, he is stronger than probably, 99% of the entire population around the world. I kid you not. Jacob Henry right now has several profiles on these recruiting websites, and all they are highlights of him mauling the offensive lineman and sacking the quarterback and him inside the weight room. I'm not kidding you. Jacob's like 16 or 17 years old. The kid's already squatting 650. Okay, that's how strong he is. But he's already up on multiple recruiting websites, and they've already got profiles out there for him. And they've got like a full season highlights. Huddle, HUDL. They got his full season highlights on everything for him for when he was playing this past season. Oh yeah, he's also a junior. He graduates the class of 2024. They're even
Ridiculous.
yeah, they're even starting this much younger. Like if you go down to, we call it the little league years, 11, 12-year olds, things like that. You know, there's a couple websites where they've been scouting kids that are doing these baseball traveling games. And they'll upload their swing on there, they'll upload their pitching mechanics and everything like that, and people will evaluate their pitching mechanics and base what they might become before where they're hitting puberty and things like that. Man, back in the daggone day, you needed a video and you needed to go see a coach and you needed to do all these other things. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous how easy it has become for a lot of these high schoolers and children now, to get their athleticism taught by coaches just like that and get their name and get their recruiting out there. And I know I'm sorry I'm rambling, but
No,
here's another
go
thing
on,
about
man. This is good stuff.
this is a story about 95. I'm not sure if you remember a guy who used to play for the Jets by the name of Wayne Corbett.
No, no, not by
Okay.
name.
Wide receiver out of Hofstra. He went undrafted in the NFL draft. So what did his mother do? His mother took videotapes of every single touchdown that he caught his senior and junior year to Hofstra and sent it to all 32 NFL teams. New York Jets took a bite on it. Well, the New York Jets sucked at that time, but what else is new? And he ended up becoming the opening game starting wide receiver and had a great 10-year career with the New York Jets and became a New York Jet legend just based off of videotapes that he had for this time period. That's how hard it was for somebody of Wayne Corbett's stature to break it into the NFL. Now, all they have to do is just go to daggone YouTube, type the guy's name in, and you're going to see the damn season highlights of everything that they played in.
Nice.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. And hold on, because there's somebody in the comment there, Michael Carasquillo said, Mark Henry, get him on the sports bar. Do you think that Mark Henry would be after coming on and, talking about his professional history here on the sports bar?
You know, That is something a little interesting. That I mean, I haven't talked to Mark in about a year and a half, and the last time I did, um, him and the people that I work for now ended up partnering together for something with All Elite Wrestling. It might be something I might go out with. I will tell you, to kind of keep the military theme out there, I would like to talk to a guy by the name of Captain Sean. And if you Google up Captain Sean, he's with All Elite Wrestling, but he is also a Navy veteran. He isn't a captain, trust me on that. They just call him Captain Sean. But he's a Navy veteran who's now wrestling for All Elite Wrestling, and that would be another good person to be put on there. But CQ, you got a good point. Maybe we should start getting some more people onto here for guests and things like that. I can start doing some reaching out. Maybe use my position to obtain pleasure, profit, or personal safety. I don't know where I heard that, but that goes against everything I learned somewhere.
There was something else that you talked about too that I like to highlight. I always find that it's interesting. I would love to know the dilemma that college athletes that went to the service academies have, that let's say that they're good enough, right? That they are good enough that they could play on the next level or go professional at something, but because they went to a service academy, most service academies, when you graduate, you have to get a commission, whether it's active duty, reserve, guard, and how
Well,
you reconcile, you know,
so
honoring your obligation versus having the chance to compete at a professional level that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do. I know that there's several stories out there of those that have, that maybe they had a deferred commission, but I would love to have a conversation with somebody that kind of fits that bill to understand the decisions that you have to make if given those opportunities.
we're going to be hearing about that pretty soon once the NFL season's over because the Army, I'm going to Google up his name right now. Andre Carter II, who's a linebacker edge rusher over at West Point. Excuse me. He is might be the first person in about 60 or 70 years to be drafted within the first round of the NFL draft, this upcoming draft. And he's been projected for over a year now by the likes of, oh God, Mel Kiper and the other guy, the one that nobody likes. They've been projecting him as a first round draft pick, ever since last year. 2017 or 2018, the Orange president signed something that if somebody was able to play a professional sport that was at a service academy, they can defer that. Now, Andre Carter II looks like he's going to be the first person to truly test that because he's going to be a first round NFL draft pick. But that did happen. God, I think the last big name that ever ended up doing that. Was the Admiral David Robinson. He was
Yes.
drafted number one overall by San Antonio, and then did 2 years in the Navy in a sub. And I don't know how a 7-footer was able to, or he might have been a surface warfare officer. I don't think he would ever, fit in a sub or something like that. But he did his 2 years, and then after that, he went right into the NBA, won the Rookie of the Year, and then a Dream Team MVP, and Hall of Fame career afterwards.
Man, that's see, that's a good story about how a player, a person, you don't call it a player, a person, because this person's a human being, can succeed and still have the military leverage, right? Leverage that for marketing, because if you take a look at what a lot of the services are doing now, I read something that was kind of interesting. When the beer bug happened in 2020, the services were having a hard time getting recruits in. Obviously, you had this nationwide health scare thing that was going on, so people weren't quick to enlist into the services. So the Department of Defense leveraged technology, and the Air Force specifically created a recruit tool, so to speak, that current enlisted people could use to try to get qualified people who they knew to enlist into the U.S. Air Force. Well, the Air Force has decided to develop that tool, and current enlisted people can get money if somebody who they referred that uses that tool also joined. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I think that the Department of Defense, oh man, how do I say this? They could come into the service academies in general may come into some issues with trying to get those top athletes. Like Andre Carter's 6'7", 260 and projected to go into the first round. I'm curious if when he was recruited out of high school, was he himself looking at other colleges, or was the Army Service Academy the best fit for him? If he does get the chance to get drafted, does he forego his commission to get a chance to play in the NFL? Or, does he say, hey, you know what? I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm going to honor duty and country, serve my time and go from there. I think that there's some interesting things with technology, with some of the stuff that's coming forward that the DoD is going to have to kind of take a look at. But I think that there's going to also be more options for players and people as they're trying to seek, should they go to a service academy or take their chances outside of a service academy.
I mean, going to a service academy, we can speak about, the advantages of it because we've got experience of it, with being around officers that have been going to a service academy. The discipline that's also necessary that, inherently is not done, for these college athletes going into professionals. I mean, we hear it about it all the time about, somebody goes to college and then goes to the NBA, loses all the money and everything, or, gets into trouble, all that. You're not really going to have worry about discipline for all of these athletes coming from the service academy. So it could be used as a good tool to kind of get some more people into it and at least make the service academies a little bit, a better option to recruit some more players as well as to gain some more, cadets within their ranks. Now I'm reading this thing about Andre Carter II. So it was past December 20th. It was there was an overruling in one of the courts that okay, let me say this. The ruling in the court for 2019 stated that they can um, and it was signed by President Trump that they can forego it. And then there was a provision has been included in the omnibus appropriations that now make Carter and other current Academy upperclassmen eligible for a waiver that will allow for a legacy exception for the 2019 ruling to defer service to play pro sports. Let me see with that. And it shall only apply within respect to cadet or midshipman who first enrolls within the military academy, the Naval Academy, or the Air Force Academy on or after June 1st, 2021. So it's looking like that they can start bringing some people in. Now, there is something about Carter's situation as well as David Robinson's situation. David Robinson grew 9 inches when he was at Annapolis. So he was about 6'3", 6'4", and then he became 7 foot by the time his senior year came in there. So it's a little bit of a freak kind of thing. Same thing happened too with Andre Carter II. He grew, I mean, and you were talking about kids here. He was a little bit of a late bloomer, and when he bloomed, he was already in the academy. So you get these, once every 20-year types of things that cause this type of change. Maybe this type of change would be able to start getting some of the more. Oh, how would I put this? Some of the qualified athletes that wouldn't have thought of going to West Point, Annapolis, or the Air Force Academy, but it might be a little bit more intriguing for them to go to it. At
Okay.
least that's the way I see it. Yeah.
All right. I went to a Navy midshipman home game, and man, the Service Academy games are chef's kiss. Hey, for those of y'all out there watching and or listening, if you get the opportunity to catch a Service Academy game, go. The atmosphere for a college game itself is one thing, but I think that a Service Academy sport is a whole nother experience in itself. Have you had the opportunity to catch any of the Service Academy games in any sport?
Not in person. I mean, I've seen the Army Navy game on TV several years. I've always, made fun of Navy, saying that they sit down to pee and they'll always lose the Army and everything like that. But that is one I on the bucket list. I would like to go see an Army Navy game. I really would like to go see one.
You know what? Same here. Don't just talk about it, Coach. Man, let's be about it. Let's try and catch one of those Army Navy games here. Let's put it up on the board here for the next here within the next 5 years, man. How does that sound?
No, you know what? Bump that. Let's make it this year. I'm pretty sure that I can somehow finagle my way to tell my wife, hey, I'm heading up to Philadelphia to the Army Navy game. If I did not start this job, my brother had tickets for me to the Army Navy game in Philly for this year. But I
No
had
kidding.
I had literally just started my job, so there was no way I was going to be able to get off in time to do it. And yeah, I would have loved to have gone up there and seen that game, but I don't know, and then on top of that too, I mean, I know there might be, hey, who cares about this football game? We enlisted, or we did something else to get into the military. It's about camaraderie, and when you retire or when you separate, you're going to kind of realize that. I hope some of you that are still active duty that are listening right now, just realize that one day you are going to be out of the military, whether you like it or not, and whether it's on your terms or it's on somebody else's terms. And you're going to appreciate those types of games because there's a lot of other stories other than what's being played on the field for those games, and that's the kind of thing that when you get older and a little bit more mature, you'll come to appreciate.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with the sentiment of what you just said as well. Do we have an update in the Bengals game, Coach, or is it still
Yes,
2020?
we do. Interception by Kansas City on a bomb on a 3rd and 3. Joe Burrow threw it, and it looked like it hit the receiver and popped up in the air, and Kansas City just came down to it. 6:53 left to go in the fourth quarter, and we still are tied at 20. Oh, okay. So, number 6 on, I can't get his name, number 6 on Kansas City, Cook, tipped the ball up as it was going in the air, and then number 23 came right in on the ball tip, grabbed it, and intercepted the ball. So it's now back to Kansas City ball. They're going to be starting at their 20 or let me see. Yeah, just about the 20, about the 15-yard line. So they got about 85 yards to go to get to their end zone right now, and 6:53 left, and Mahomes is back out there trying to warrior through this game, but we're still tied at 20.
All right. There's a comment in the chat. Can we get Alejandro Villanueva on? I will absolutely try. For those of y'all who don't know the person that he had asked about, this person was he an Army captain? I know he played for the Army Black Knights. He also had a pretty long, I didn't say long, but it's long by most standards. He played about 6 or 7 years in the NFL as well, but he's another guy that went to one of the service academies that also played professional football. And if you follow him on social media, I know, he definitely likes to talk about his time and things like that. And I would love to be able to bring him on to the sports bar. So I'm going to try to make that happen for sure. We have some guests that we're going to have on the sports bar here on WTF Nation Radio. We're getting some things set up to do some interviews. I'm looking forward to it. Coach, I'm pretty sure that you'd also like to be a part of some of these interviews that we have coming on WTF Nation Radio as well. So for those of y'all that are out there, hey, if there's somebody that y'all want us to bring on to the show, put him in the comments. We'll definitely try to make that happen. But he is somebody who I wrote down as somebody that I would love to have on the sports bar, as he has that military and sports connection. Coach, is there anybody
Yes.
that you would just absolutely throw a baby on the road for to have on our Sunday night live stream?
You know what? I would absolutely love to have Tom Brady on just so I can yell at him because I'm a pent up Jets fan, and for 20 something years he absolutely terrorized the Jets. So I want to get him on, and I just want to yell at him for an hour and a half straight. I mean, it'd be better than him getting yelled at by Giselle. Okay, because I will at least compliment him and not talk about personal things around there. I'll just talk about how he has destroyed my life for 20 years. But no, Alejandro Villanueva is a good one that I would like to, when we were thinking about it, that's a good one I'd like to get on. One person in particular, I mentioned him. We are a military affiliated show. We are on U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. And look, yeah, I know it's an Army thing, but man, David Robinson still does stuff for the Navy. And he still has that background. NBA NBA champion, NBA MVP, Pro Basketball Hall of Famer, but he's also a Navy guy. And, I would love to have talked to him about his time in the Navy and not just talk to him about how he's, the only person in the past 25 years to record a quadruple double or, played with Rodman when he had yellow hair.
All right, nice. Nice. The Admiral. All right. Hey, look, we're going to try to get the Admiral on the sports bar here on WTF Nation Radio.
Yeah.
Coach, I have another
Yes,
question for you, man. Speaking
What's up,
of which, for the stadiums and things that you've been to, for pro sports anyway, pro football, what's the coolest stadium that you've been to so far, man?
Oh, okay. Coolest stadium that I've been to was the I believe it's not I don't know if it's Mercedes or I think it's TD Bank up in Minneapolis. The new one, the one that was built. I was there in 2016. Got a little tour of it inside, and it is a phenomenal football stadium. Baseball stadium wise, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. That
Yes.
with the one with the fountains and the massive scoreboard in center field. That one is a beautiful stadium. Can't complain about going there. It was just like 110 degrees, so thank God that there was a light wind and the fountains. I sat behind them and it was blowing some mist on me because that kept me cool throughout the game. But that was a good one. And I've also been to it's now going to be demolished, but I've been to the Aloha Stadium, and that is an absolute shithole. I went there for a Pro Bowl, University of Hawaii games, even saw a concert there. Worst stadium I have ever been to.
So back this up. Were you stationed in Hawaii?
I was stationed in Hawaii for 3 years. Yes.
You lucky SOB. I had a couple of TDYs out there to Hickam Air Base.
Yep.
And every time I would get the chance to get to Hawaii, I would jump on the opportunity. And man, let me tell you, for it to be an island, I don't think I could ever have island fever at all living on Hawaii. I thought that the culture was dope. I thought that the food was fantastic. I used to judge TDYs, or temporary deployments. For those of y'all that don't know what a TDY is, I used to judge places that we would go based off of how good the food was. And man, Hawaii had some fantastic food, fantastic drinks. To have a Mai Tai right there on a restaurant, right there by the beach, man, with the water.
The place on Hickam.
Not on Hickam, but anytime we would fly into a place, we would try to stay off base as maximum possible. So, we try to get those hotels that are right there by the water, man, every single time. It was a disappointing TDY if you went to some place like Hickam and they made you stay on base.
Man, it is true. But Hickam does have, they have a decent beach out there on the base. It's connected to Pearl Harbor as well. But Hickam had a restaurant that was on the south side, or it was on the south side of the base, and at that restaurant right next to it was their their own military beach. On the other side of that was a little bit of a clearing, and then the border of where the Hickam beach went off, that was one of the runways for the Honolulu airport. So you would see some of the if you were at the beach, you would see these the planes taking off out of there. And it was pretty cool when you were doing it too, because it's also attached to Pearl Harbor. So anytime a sub would go out, it was kind of cool to see a sub go below surface as you were just chilling out there on the beach. Not something you see on most of the Hawaii beaches, but Hickam had a pretty dang on nice beach. Now the ones in Honolulu, like if you ever stayed at the Halikoa, oh yeah, that's a beautiful beach right there, and they got some good places over there too. My favorite beaches are on the North Shore, which if we want to talk about sports, we can go ahead and talk about the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational that happened last week. 20-foot waves up at Waimea Bay. Oh my God, I watched it for 8 hours. I missed most of the football games just to watch that.
Nice. Hey, there's a question in the chat from David Cunningham. He asked the following: what do you guys think about the flag football game at the Pro Bowl? Most NFL players like having the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Hey, look, it's a fantastic location. What do I think about the flag football game? I think it's a better freaking game than what the old the old Pro Bowl was. Oh man, I think it's a different way to be entertaining. So from the fan standpoint, I'm all for it. If you're going to have the Pro Bowl game, I'd rather have that than to have them suit up in pads and essentially be playing touch football the entire time. Coach, what say you?
I agree with you on that. God, I can't remember the kid's name. I think it was Edwards from the Patriots. He was a rookie, and he ended up tearing his MCL, ACL, patella, and all of that during the Pro Bowl weekend. Completely ruined his career, and he was one of the best running backs that year when he got drafted. The game since then has become just absolutely pansified. I was there for the 2011 Pro Bowl, and I got bored with it after the second quarter, and we left at halftime. I didn't want to sit in the stands and watch, terrible football. And if you're going to have something a little bit exciting and have something where, it's going to be a lot safer for the players to play, I'm more for it, just so that I can see them going all out and not half-assing everything. Because when you're just showing that, like, this game doesn't mean anything and you're not there for them, well, nobody's going to watch the daggone thing. And nobody watched the Pro Bowl because it used to be after the Super Bowl, nobody really cared about it. Then they moved it in between the Super Bowl and the AFC and NFC championship game, and then the play just went to crap and nobody cared about it because nobody wanted to get injured. And I don't blame them. But now you can have something where they are not going to get injured, or the risk of injury is subsided much more, and they can show off their athleticism. I might have a little bit of interest in it. And then, to hear the Mannings talk crap to each other across the field, that would also be pretty cool.
Yes. I think if you're going to have a product, right? If you're going to have the recognition of the players, it's a fan's dream to watch the best of the best from across the entire league play against each other. But from a player standpoint, I get it. I like the change in format. I like the skills competition stuff. I think that trying to marry fan interaction with the players as well is a way to get people to just, simply care about the Pro Bowl week and stuff in general. So I do like the change to going from being in pads to flag football. And I think that it can somewhat bring some excitement back into the Pro Bowl week when it comes to seeing the players play in mass.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to David for that
Yeah.
question. I appreciate him
And
bringing that in.
King, quick update. We've got minute 45 left. It's still the right now. 2-minute warning is already passed, and Kansas City's got the ball. They've got to go, or excuse me, since he's got the ball, they got to go about 80 yards. Maybe around the 30 or so. If they go about 50 or so yards to kick a field goal, but this is going to be coming down, and now it's 3rd down and 7.
Okay, hey, look, here at WTF Nation Radio, the sports bar typically goes from 8 to 10 p.m., but I'm going to stay on ice. Don't chop my hands off of this until this game ends.
Man, with how many times ice ends early, and goes late on there, I think we'll be okay. CQ's usually on for more than 2 hours if he's got a good guest on, so he ain't going to chop our heads off.
All right, hey man, I'm new here. I'm still trying to understand the ROE, the rules of engagement. So we have a tie ball game, 2-minute warning in Kansas City, where the Cincinnati Bengals are trying to upstage the Kansas City Chiefs. Bengals with the ball, man, 80 yards. Do you think that they can do it?
It's not looking good right now because it's a 3rd and 7, and I think they're about to call. They just called intentional grounding, so it's now going to be a loss of down, and they're going to give them a penalty on it. So this isn't looking good. I don't know. Kansas City might be getting the ball back. Never doubt Mahomes either. Mahomes is a daggone warrior, so. I don't know. Oh God, mom right now. WTF, Nation Radio, mom. She's definitely biting her nails right now. She ain't too happy about what's happening. She's a big Cincy fan. So let's see, 3rd and 16 right now from their Cincy's 9-yard line. Oh God, they got to get to the 26 for a 1st down.
Ooh, oh man, that is a tall order.
We're going to provide should we provide play-by-play for those that are watching it instead of putting it out for us?
Hey, if anything, do it for me because I don't have the game up.
All right, not a problem. So here we go, minute 12 remaining. They're about to go ahead and get the play clock started. Come on, 108, 107, 106. They're lining up right now. All right, Joe Burrow back behind center, shotgun formation, looks to the right, and he's got a 1st down out of bounds at the 32-yard line to keep the drive together. Nice 20-yard completion to Hurst. 56 remaining on the clock right now, and they're looking at a replay of it. Hurst was left wide open, and about to the 34-yard line right now. So, another 30 or 35 yards until they're in field goal range. Let's see if they can do it with 56 remaining. This is why I say Joe Burrow is Joe Cool because, he doesn't buckle in this pressure, and neither has Mahomes.
Yeah, no, he's definitely earned the nickname Joe Cool. Another
thing out in the right. Did he get out of bounds? No, he did not get out of bounds. So he's down by the 35, down to the 35, 2nd down and 8. Who the heck is pulling this on there? Okay, Ice is talking in the chats right now. Yep, Ice, why don't you just listen into the show instead of giving the updates, buddy? You can listen in. We're all watching it.
Yes, I accidentally had that up, so I'm pretty sure the people watching and or listening could hear that. Hey, Mom, if you are listening, all right, I'm rooting for you. I don't have a skin in the game for either team. So you know what, Mom? I'm going to be rooting for who you're rooting for. So just like Jeff said in the chat, let's go Cincy. Oh, man.
Who dey? Yeah, who dey?
Who said who dey?
Who dey? That's what the Bengals say. The who dey. That's what Cincy is. Who dey. And
I thought wait, who's the Saints then? Who that?
I think that's who dat. Who dat? Yeah, Saints are who dat, and Cincy is who dey, and and the Dallas Cowboys is who cares.
Ice is in the building. He said, "I heard that, Coach."
Good.
Hey, thank you to the people that told me that my audio was not as loud earlier. I hope I've tweaked it. All right. So let me know.
Now it's a 3rd down and 8 with 44 to go.
All right, 3rd down and 8. Joe Cool with the ball. Almost midfield. Not quite field goal range. Hey, my cousin played for the Kansas City Chiefs. On one of the prior live streams, I had said that. And when I was stationed in Kansas, I had the opportunity to go see him play a couple of times as the players
Mhm.
would get like player type tickets for families or whatnot.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
yes, Kansas City just got a sack of Joe Burrow. Bring it up 4th down with 39 seconds to go, and it does not look like Cincy is going to get this ball back. Oh, the best they can hope for is overtime. Sorry, Mom. Pray for overtime right now because you're just about to give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. With a decent field, might have a last-second field goal.
At home, Mahomes. No Tariq Hill. Has McCole Hartman played this game?
I have no idea who the hell Hartman is. I
Okay,
ain't gonna
so
lie to
Hartman
you.
is like Tariq Hill light. I would call him
I think
Tariq
I'm
Hill
pretty
Jr.
sure. I'm pretty sure he has. I mean, if I don't know all the Kansas City players, by name right now. So if I saw their number, I'm pretty sure that it actually would.
Okay, all right, yeah. He was injured. He's been injured for pretty much the last half of the season. I don't think he's played since week 7 or week 8, but I know that there was a possibility of
All
him
right.
playing today. And as I'm
Yeah.
taking a look at the stats, I don't see him. Oh, he has 2 registered runs, as well as 2 catches on 3 targets. So he has
All
gotten
right.
in today.
Kansas City is returning the punt, and they got a good seam out on the outside. He's got it over to the 48-yard line, Kansas City 48-yard line. So we're looking at
Yo,
real good field position. Mahomes has got
wow.
about 20 yards to go, and once he gets about 20 yards, he'll be right in the field goal range. So we're looking at a last second kick. Oh, he was pushed it. Yep, pushed out right around the 48, 50-yard line, somewhere around there.
All right, so Harrison Bucker in this game has already made a 53-yarder.
Yep,
I'm sorry, not 53, 43, 43. Oh
43.
man,
Yep.
so they would need about another.
Yeah, about another 20 yards they're going to need right now.
Oof.
First down and 10 at the 47-yard line. So 47, that's what he's got. So Mahomes under center, pulls it out. Okay, screen pass out to the yard. Let's see if they get out of bounds. Nope, they're going to gets it up to the Cincy 47-yard line. So a pickup of 6. Timeout right now, and Mahomes is still limping right now.
Wow,
And that's
man.
and this is their final timeout. So 2nd down and 4, final timeout. And I really don't want to watch that show, Fire Country. So come on now, CBS.
Hey, I watch Fire Country, man.
You
It's all right,
do?
but there's too many fire shows. You got Chicago Fire, which I watch and like. There's the other one that does it's like the Grey's Anatomy version in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you got that Chicago Fire, Fire Country. It's like, all right, hey, look, I maybe
And you
being
got
a
the
fireman's cool.
911s on. You got the 911s that always deal with the police and the fire on Fox.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
See, I'm a Blue Bloods guy, man. Just something about Tom Selleck. If Tom Selleck is the chief of police, the actual chief of police in New York, it might actually be a safer town.
I feel the same way. He plays a police chief on a show that makes people go, that's what we need in real life.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Pass is incomplete. Looks like Mahomes was hit on the way. 3rd down and 4 with 17 remaining. Clock has stopped, so Mahomes has got to get the first down here, and if not, they're probably going to go for it. And there might be enough time if they go for it, because they're too far away for for a field goal. And this is a good thing about the NFL. Not many people know about this, but on a field goal, if it's too far along, the opposing team can return that ball. And Devin
Yes.
Hester's actually scored a touchdown off of a missed field goal. So was Aaron Glenn for the New York Jets. 3rd down and 4. Mahomes scrambling to the right. Gets the first down and out of bounds with 8 seconds to go. And
Ooh.
they threw the flag for a late hit. Oh.
Yo.
Oh,
Oh,
Cincy.
come
No.
on.
No.
Late hit of Mahomes penalty is what the chat is saying. So you tack on the penalty yards, and that gives Harrison Butker a chance to win the game. Don't lose a game like that.
It does. Yes, it does. Unnecessary roughness on Osai, number 58, as he was chasing him out of bounds. I guess he pushed him. Oh, that's bullshit. He took maybe a step out of bounds when he pushed. Okay. It's one of those borderline ones.
Man, yep. You got
pushed
Jeff.
him out of bounds. Damn it.
Yep, you got Jeff in the chat that said unreal, and he's hoping for a shank. Are you hoping for a shank, or are you wishing it, Jeff? Let us know in the chat, my man.
Man, and on top of that too, the guy's injured right now. The guy who pushed Mahomes out of bounds. So okay,
wow. Talk
all right.
Karma.
So we got the field goal kicker up right now. Harrison Butkus, whatever his name is. 9 for 12 when tied or trailing by 3 points or fewer in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime. Well, that's not a good stat. So he's got 75% chance, and he is lining up right now on the 35-yard line. This is a 44-yard field goal with 8 seconds remaining. Hi, I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts. 45-yard attempt, excuse me. Please, come on. Laces in. Cincinnati's about to freeze him here in a minute because they got one timeout remaining. Nope, they don't. Kick is up, and it is good.
All right, we have a ball game. Your AFC champions.
Not yet, buddy. Not yet. We got 3 seconds remaining.
Oh, wow.
3 seconds remaining. So
there is time on the clock. Mike Braithwaite, there's time on the clock, my man. 3 seconds is time for something to happen.
Kansas City's got to kick it off. Travis Kelce is yelling at everybody to get the hell off of the field. The laces were out. The kick was up, and man, the kick was straight down the middle and had good enough distance. Man, he could have probably had a good another 5 yards on that one at least. So,
oh man,
let's see.
Hey, so Mike, do you think that with Philly's defense, that an injured Mahomes can still will that Kansas City Chiefs team to a win? Let me know.
All right, so let's see. This kickoff is always going to be good, whether they squib kick it, and we might have one of those, schoolyard plays to get them at the end. Of course, that would also be great to see something like that, get a nice little laterals and left and right, and Kansas City or Cincinnati return the ball for a touchdown. But this is their last bit. This is their last hope. So what are they going to do? What's Kansas City going to do? You can either kick it and hope for no return, or they can squib it, and let's see. Okay, so here we go. Nice little squib kick, gets out to the 10-yard line. Cincinnati's returning it. Here comes the laterals. Number 11 gets the ball, and he is down at the 19-yard line. Kansas City is going to the Super Bowl.
Man, I hope I don't get kicked off air for this one, but I'm looking at the replay of the push. I don't know, man. Maybe I might need to see it in HD, but that didn't look enough for a penalty to be called.
Man, he's got about maybe 1-2 feet out of the line as he was out of bounds, as he was pushing him. The play wasn't played dead. I will also say that this guy who is the head referee, I don't know. He looks like a guy who would, take the bus to work every day because, he doesn't understand the concept of a car. That's the best way I can describe this referee from this game. But yeah, Cincinnati, Oh, it was good while it lasted, but Kansas City and Philadelphia in the Super Bowl in 2 more weeks.
All right. So Mike
Sorry,
Braithwaite said
Mom.
that both feet were out of bounds when he was pushed. I might need to go back and watch it in high definition. I'm trying to catch it on my second monitor here and bring it on the screen as well. I also don't want to get copyright stricken by displaying the video, but
Man,
I'll definitely go
I,
back and take a look at it to see it. But my
man,
first thoughts were I don't think that it should have warranted a penalty.
man, you know what sucks though is now that we have to, Kansas City now being in the Super Bowl, that means we're going to have to endure Patrick Mahomes, his brother, and his girlfriend or fiance, wife, whatever the heck she is now, for the next 2 weeks until Kansas City loses to Philly.
Yes, we will. We got another comment. See, Michelle Early said, I love it when I'm right and my students are wrong. And just said the refs must have had some money on the game. All right. I like it. All right. Well, we are going to wrap up this week's episode of the Sports Bar. But before I do, I would like to thank my co-host, the lovely Coach, for coming on. There's going to be some upgrades to, oh, wait, this side, right here. Bam. There's going to be some upgrades to Coach's mug back here as we get the Sports Bar built out. I'm kind of building the plane as I fly it over here. But I would like to thank you, the viewers and listeners, for coming on and watching us for the Sports Bar. Coach, sounded like that you had something to say, brother.
Yeah, buddy. We got to give them a preview of what's happening this week.
Yes, you were a little bit ahead of me, but bam.
Oh, okay. My bad, buddy. I thought you were signing off. I'm like, wait a second.
No,
Ice wants us to give a promo about all the shows that are happening with that great new graphic that we got.
Ice, boss man, I absolutely was bringing it on board, my man. Trust me. I had some technical stuff happen that caused me to lose everything, but I just added it up there on the screen. All right. We have 6 shows here on WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army WTF Moments, starting with the Sports Bar. All right. Me, this handsome guy, and that avatar of a face on Sundays, the Monday edition. All right. All shows start at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. All right. I still don't know the names of everybody who does all the shows, so I'm just going to point to the graphic for now and say that we have 6 shows. Tune in to get a different flavor of different things each night of the week, except for Saturday? There's no Saturday show. Who wants to do a Saturday show?
Actually, I believe when we were first thinking about the Sports Bar, Saturday might have been like the floating day that we could have done that one.
Hey,
but thank God they got us on Sunday.
For selfish reasons, I wasn't going to be able to do a Saturday show because I like to get out, travel, and catch a couple of different things. But I appreciate the people that tune in to the Sports Bar, to everybody else that, comes here on WTF Nation Radio for any of the other shows that they put out. I know that the hosts do some fantastic stuff here. I'm starting to watch some of the other shows as well, not just because I do the Sports Bar and they've given me this opportunity, but each of the hosts, Ice, Radar, CQ from Pop Culture Warrior. Who else we got, Coach? I can't think of everybody's name.
We got you got Radar on the Smoke Pit. You got Ice on Monday with Ship. Thursday, Ice, Monday edition with Shipwreck. You got Ice and a rotating host on Thursday for Sergeant's Time, and Kaz and Pookie on Friday.
Yes,
with Friday Night Freedom, and CQ is running through some guest hosts as well on Tuesday. Obviously, we don't want to make sure Pop Culture Warriors is represented.
There we go. Hey, Kaz's show, by the way. I caught one of his first live streams the other day, and he does some pretty good stuff over there too. So be sure to be tuned in. There's a Saturday show that's going to be planned as well. All right. Hey, hold on. Let's do this real quick. All right. And to everybody that tuned in to my show, because I'm talking about me right now, I give you a salute, and we are off. Peace.
Later.